Welcome, listeners, to the Bug's Labyrinth, where I will guide you through the maze of secrets that make up our world. I am your host. You can call me the Bug if you must call me anything. A list of all applicable trigger warnings have been provided in the episode notes of every episode. If any topics are of any concern to you, please take care of yourself and skip this episode. We'll be right here for you next time. So, welcome to the Labyrinth. I will be your guide. A touch of mold. Entity classification ID PHDN-20. Status of entity, disposed. Classification of entity, humanoid. First instance of entity, 2020. Last possessor of entity before Institute intervention, Noah Jacobs. Assumed awe. The rot. Noah was a clean freak. After his detainment, the Institute collected intel from close family and friends and found him to be a homebody. A shut-in would be a more accurate term, but it's rude to speak ill of the dead. Everyone in his innermost circle rarely saw him after he had moved out for university. The university, however, claims Noah attended one class before promptly disappearing and dropping from all of his courses. His classmates described him as quiet but cautious, looking around the room as if expecting something bad to happen at any moment, though nothing ever did. Noah was in fact a clean freak, but he wasn't always like that. He was a usual boy, playing in the mud, catching bugs, and participating in sports. It would seem that all of his troubles could be linked back to one moment in time, moving out to university. The Institute was unable to track the exact moment it happened, but Noah's parents did describe seeing a strange figure outside of Noah's dorms. A round, unhappy-looking man with greasy hair and a worn pair of slacks, and a long-sleeve shirt covering his arms despite the warmth of the day. According to his parents, the man locked eyes with Noah, shook his hands, and welcomed him to the university. Noah was quiet for the rest of the day following the event. Noah tells what happened in those dorms thusly. I couldn't shake the feeling of that man's hands on mine for days after the fact. I washed them 8 times in a row after my parents left, and even that wasn't enough. Something about the way they felt, the warm dampness maybe, I don't know, but I took a shower after and just did my best to worry about other things. I mean, I had my whole life ahead of me. College was just the beginning. That's what everyone told me, anyway. I woke up the next morning still feeling that man's grasp around my hands. It felt like there was a layer of something on my palms, an invisible fur-like feeling. It really freaked me out, but after another 10 minutes of trying to wash it off, it wouldn't go away, so I just gave up and went to get some breakfast. I grabbed the handle to open the fridge, but felt the same weird, furry feeling and pulled my hand back. The fridge handle was covered in a layer of bluish-green mold, exactly where I had grabbed it. I gagged and staggered away. I was tired, sure, but I swear there was nothing on the handle before I touched it. I spent the next 20 minutes scraping the handle clean and rubbing it down with cleaning wipes. But when I looked down, everything was covered in mold. The butter knife I was using to scrape it off, the wipes, the handle. I was really freaking out now, and the smell of cleaner and mold was really making my stomach churn, so I figured I would just call an RA or whatever and head to class. I was already running late, so I threw on my clothes and sprinted out the door. Yes, I was one of those embarrassing freshman runners. I got to class only a few minutes past the bell, but no one seemed to notice or care, so I chose a seat near the back and took a second to calm myself down. I could smell the mold still. I tried to convince myself it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but when I pulled out my notebook to start taking notes, it had spread. Everything from my backpack to my notebook and pens were covered in the layers of fuzzy mold. I held back a rush of vomit and got to my feet. I walked out of the classroom as quickly and quietly as I could, but as I walked, I noticed the green hues on my clothes, and I swear I watched it grow and spread as I got out of there. When I got back to my dorm, I took my clothes off as quickly as I could and got in the shower again. I scrubbed and scrubbed until my skin was red and starting to bleed, but when I washed the suds away, the loofah was consumed by mold, becoming a ball of green and blue and white. I did throw up after that. I tried to put on more clothes, but yeah, I eventually figured out that everything I touched became overtaken with mold. I tried to put on gloves, but the feeling of the mold growing between my hands and the latex was too much. I did find out, though, that it was just my hands that caused it. Nowhere else on my body triggered the mold to grow, so I put on a pair of gloves, dressed myself as quickly as I could, and jumped into bed before throwing the gloves onto the floor. I don't know how long I sat there, my arms outstretched in front of me so I couldn't accidentally touch anything. I must have been in shock or something. Thankfully, my roommates weren't moving in for a few days after the term started, so I had time to figure this out, but what was I supposed to do? Call my parents? What would I say? Maybe it was all in my head. The first day of freshman year was a little early to be having a mental break from stress, but maybe it was possible. I tried to think of it as a superpower. How stupid is that? I was so tired and weak from the scrubbing and losing my lunch, so eventually I fell asleep. When I woke up, I immediately felt the magnitude of my mistake. I was in a literal bed of mold. My mouth was covered in fuzz, my hair was thick with it. I threw up again as the smell hit me. I screamed and tore at my skin to try and get it off, but as soon as I did, another patch would grow. I never felt like that before. The fear, the loss of control. I was boiling myself alive in a hot shower, tearing at my skin when the RA came around for checks. He screamed and called the police. It took them a long time to get me out of that shower. They brought me here, and you know the rest. Anything and everything I touch. I don't care what you do with me. Just please, do it quickly. Entity PHDN-20 was disposed of 24 hours after its statement was made. No further instances have been documented at this time. recording? I don't know. I need your help. I don't know what to... Yes. Yeah. Alright. Thank you, Mr. Weathers. Happy holidays from everyone here at the Bugs Labyrinth. The Bugs Labyrinth is an Amsel TV production. This episode was written, recorded, directed, and edited by Amsel T. Vance. Manuscripts were edited by Avery K. Rayner. Places and names have been changed for the privacy of all involved. Safety is the most important thing to us, and we will never compromise that. Follow us on Twitter at Bugs Labyrinth for updates and if you need to contact us. Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. It's the best way to help us out and get our story out there. And support our Patreon to help us keep making cool stuff. Until next time, stay safe, listeners.